in a crazy week where so much has happened in the world, all the stuff with COVID, Donald Trump, and everything else, you can always rely on Sunderland to provide normality. And that is what we got tonight. Sunderland draw 1-1 at home to Hull City in what was a game that got gradually worse. The first half an hour was reasonably okay, but my God, that second half was difficult watching. Also, new year, new haircut, or no hair, I suppose is what it is, which is nice as well. So anyway, to the football. 1-1. The game started slowly. Lee Burge got an injury in the first half. Malik Wilks looked like he kind of left his foot in. For me, anyway, I thought it was a little bit of a naughty one. Anyway, he seems to gash up Lee Burge's eye, and Lee Burge is getting more and more of a swollen eye as the first half goes on. Moments after that happened, it was like the 6 minute stoppage, very, very early in the game. Hull took the lead in the 13th minute. Reece Burke, a cross came in from George Honeyman, our former Lord and Saviour. He crossed in the ball, and Burge, I don't know, if you've got one eye closed, maybe it is difficult to catch a ball, kind of screws up with your hand-eye coordination. So I'm just going to put this, I don't think you can hammer Burge as much as I would love to for that, because I don't think it's on him. I think I don't think he was quite right after that. It should have just brought him off. And obviously they actually did later in the game, but they should have brought him off when he had that injury, because he was down for 6 minutes. It's obvious that he wasn't 100%. I think as a goalkeeper as well, if you've got an injury to your eyes, it's probably that and your hands are like the two things that you really can't afford to lose. So Burge got that injury early on, and then Hull scored. Burge dropped it. You move on. 21 minutes though, kind of against the run of play. Hull had dominated that early the early portion of the game. They dominated it very, very well. They were, good on the ball. It didn't look like we could get out, but we did. Jack Diamond got the ball down the right, put it across, and Aidan McGeady of all people there just pouncing and heading it into the sort of bottom right corner. I don't know how the Hull defenders didn't, make sure that McGeady couldn't win a header, because McGeady's not really known as a player who could head the ball. I remember him scoring a header against Nottingham Forest a few years ago. So there is precedent for it, but yeah, you don't expect Aidan McGeady to score a header, but he did. We were at 1-1 at that point, and you're kind of just thinking, well, hopefully we can kick on. We started the first 20 minutes, we were shocking. But from there, it felt like both teams kind of just settled and went, yeah, okay, but we're not going to overly exert ourselves to get all 3 points. In the first half, Tom Eaves hit the bar, 26th minute, and then the final note of that I had for the game really was Jack Diamond was fouled. Well, I thought he was fouled by the keeper in the 37th minute. He was sort of running kind of in one-on-one. A Hull defender did a good tackle, but the goalkeeper was still running, and he just completely clattered Jack Diamond. Could it have been a foul? Sky commentator seemed to think so. I thought it was probably harsh if he gave it, but it was a talking point. In terms of team selection, I think Lee Johnson is learning more and more about what this team is, what it can do, what it can't do. I think that Lincoln game, which we won 4-0, probably isn't going to be the norm with this 11. There's fundamental issues that are just impossible to rectify without making fundamental changes to the team. The striking situation, Charlie White tonight did very, very little. But then again, there's not many players getting around him, so he's not only is he not playing well, but he's also not supported by others, and it must be quite disheartening to continually be kind of left to your own devices up front. I thought the midfield again struggled to really stamp its authority on the game. I think my defence looked reasonably strong. I don't think we particularly looked in danger, and the goal we did concede came from a mistake from the goalkeeper. But yeah, defensively we looked okay. We just I look at Max Power and I'm like, meh. I thought he did alright when he went right back, but in central midfield at the minute he's not cutting it. And that's not to say he's not going to cut it long term. I'm not sort of writing him off as a player. I just think maybe there needs to be a bit more competition in there, because Power is playing at the moment, probably because there isn't really any other options. I think Scowen, he's not playing really as well as you'd want. I think Scowen's not 100%. I'm not 100% sold on him. There's bits of him I like. Sometimes he just is a bit anonymous in the game. I thought that was the case today. Ledbetter's solid enough. I don't have any complaints with Grant Ledbetter playing just literally behind us there. with the light that's glowing kind of on my bald head. But Ledbetter, yeah, he is what he is. He's fine. I thought Diamond, McGeady, they're decent enough, but I think the central midfield and the strikers where it's what we're really, really lacking. We need a good box-to-box player who's a little bit more creative. We're crying out for that. Somebody who is going to get close to Charlie Wyke, if Charlie Wyke's a striker. But then the other thing is Charlie Wyke himself, is he the man for Sunderland going forward? Yes, he scored goals this season. You can't deny that. I've been impressed with him, pretty much from the start of the season. I think he's done okay, but games like tonight, you need another option up there. And Danny Graham was the guy brought on. And literally, I can't recall Danny Graham touching the ball, which is just standard. I still cannot understand why Danny Graham was brought in the summer, but hey ho, that's that. Other substitutions made. I was impressed with the three changes that Lee Johnson made. Obviously, it didn't come to fruition, but bringing on Maguire, Embleton and Graham, three attacking players, with sort of 15-20 minutes to go. I thought that was quite a bold move, and it could have worked in our favour. It could potentially have even cost you as well, but I thought it's a proactive decision. Often under Phil Parkinson, we wouldn't have seen that kind of substitution made, three together, but yeah, it didn't come into anything, but it is what it is. I quite like the idea that the manager is going to try and think, right, how do we win this game rather than how do we keep ourselves a point. So it's a 1-1 draw. I think as Sunderland fans right now, we're in January. I know there's talk of we're signing Winchester from Forest Green Rovers. I'd be lying if I said I knew much about him because I don't. But I think this season, if we were to get promoted, it's obviously a massive bonus. But I don't think this season promotion, I don't think is realistic, and I don't think it's necessarily what we need. We've got a lot of players out of contract in the summer. Just even looking down the 11, Lee Burge is out of contract, Sanderson's leaving. Not sure what McFadden signed. He might have signed a 1 year or 2 year, I'm not sure. Power out of contract. Scowen, I think, will have another year. Ledbetter's out of contract. I think Jack Diamond's potentially out of contract. Aidan McGeady's out of contract. Charlie Wyke's out of contract. You look on the bench, Lyndon Gooch will still be in contract, but Maguire will be out of contract. And I think, did Danny Graham sign a 1 or 2 year? I'm not sure. But Max Power, another one who will be going out of contract. A lot of players who are going to go out of contract in the summer, which gives us a building block for completely changing the team and how we line up. So I think this next 6 month period, the second half of the season, it has to be a learning experience for Lee Johnson. It's a learning experience for the sporting director, and it's a learning experience for everyone at the football club. I think that the key is to make sure that the recruitment in the summer is good. It has to be effective. It has to tackle the right areas. We have to have an ethos, a playing style that makes sense, and the manager's got to work out which of these players he's got at the minute is going to fit into that and which ones won't. That is fundamentally it. That's what Sunderland need to do this year. So obviously you want to get promoted this season. Sunderland needs to get out of this division by hook or crook. They need to do it. But is this season realistic? At the minute, I would say we've got a good chance of getting in the playoffs, but I don't think we're good enough to get in the top 2. And if you get in the playoffs, you've got a 25% chance of going up. So at the minute, we're probably rated at about 50-50 to get in the playoffs. You would probably put where that. I know you probably have more sort of hope with Phil Parkinson not in charge, but the reality is we've probably got a 50% chance of getting the playoffs. So if you're saying a 50% chance of getting the playoffs and a 25% chance of actually winning and getting through the playoffs, you've a very, very slim chance of getting promoted this season. So the emphasis from the club, for me, needs to be on bringing the right players in, getting the recruitment ready for the summer, knowing exactly what we need to sign, knowing which players we need to keep, making sure that the business makes sense. Sunderland's had a very scattergun approach to recruitment, and I think you can look at all the players we've signed since we got relegated to League One. Not even talking about when we were in the Premier League and all that, but since we came down to League One, the recruitment's very much been, has that player done well at this level before? Not, will this player fit in to what we're trying to do? Emphasised with like Conor McLaughlin, who was brought in as a right back, and we were playing him centre back when he first came in, and he did terrible, and fans didn't like him. And then we tried him at right wing back, and that wasn't his position either. Sunderland have been doing that for years, bringing players in and not putting them where they should be playing players out of position, and that needs to change. We need to have a system and a recruitment, drive to fit that system, and youth players coming through who fit that system as well. It's the only logical way for us to go forward as a club. But just to sum up, it was a draw. It was 1-1 against a promotion favourite. We, apart from the first 20 minutes, we more than held our own. I thought I don't think either team particularly deserved to win it. And we just got to keep going. We've got to keep trucking on. It's going to be a weird season at the end of the year. We're going to play pretty much, every 2 games a week. It's going to be Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday, Tuesday till the end of the year. That's fine because it can build momentum, but I just think we need to, as fans, kind of temper our expectations for what this season's going to be, and I don't see us, with this group of players, being able to push into the top 2. I think the damage from Phil Parkinson being in charge is going to be longer than a few weeks, a few months, a few matches. The damage of that era, and not just knocking on Phil, but it's even just the recruitment from that time, and how he wasn't backed. You say what you want about Parkinson, but he wasn't given the tools to succeed. So we as a football club now, we just need to sort of focus on what the long-term ambitions are, and hopefully in the short term that'll, the long-term ambition might help the short term in the sense that we get more of an ethos and an identity around the club, and it might spiral into positive results. But for me this year, I don't see promotion being a realistic ambition. But anyway, that's kind of turned into a little bit of rant there. Thanks for watching today's video, and hopefully we'll be talking about a few more wins going forward, because I think it's 1 in 5 for Lee Johnson since he's came in. Obviously hammered by COVID, but still 1 in 5. It's not a great start, but he'll know that. And I'm certainly not. I don't think he's under pressure or anything. I think I'm kind of accepting whatever the results are at the minute, and hoping that after a period of time, certainly in the next season, we look like a very, very strong League One club that will hopefully walk the league next year. That's got to be the ambition, in my opinion.